In a statement that should surprise absolutely nobody, but of course these leftist fake weebs will still find a way to be shocked and awed at this, the original director from Ghost in the Shell has blasted political correctness and frankly its origins in the West and how it is now officially hurting his work in Japan. Welcome back to Words Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and oh, you'll love to see it. For those of you that kept saying, and it told me over and over, well, at least we got the East, at least Japan is safe, at least we got anime and video games, and I've been telling y'all for about 2 years now. No, this stuff is reaching them too, it's just slower. Even he admits it. So we're going to go through here before we do hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. And yes, let's figure out what goodness, what vindication us gamers and weebs should feel after hearing what he has to say. Original Ghost in the Shell director blasts rise of political correctness in games and anime. You can't even talk about someone being beautiful or not without being accused of discrimination. Oh, you love to see it. Now, first of all, Ghost in the Shell, one of the greatest of all time. Like, if you were to say, yo, what are the definitive anime films of the 90s? Ghost in the Shell very well, it might be at the top of that list. I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of other options when it comes to opinion. You got like Perfect Blue, Ghost in the Shell, and then probably the first Pokemon movie. Those are going to be your top three. In the opinion of Ghost in the Shell anime director Mamoru Oshii, while the concept of political correctness may have been born from a place of genuinely good intent, its overemphasis in recent years has had a profoundly detrimental effect on not just entertainment media, but society at large. Now, mind you, I disagree with him on this, by the way. I disagree with the idea of political correctness in general. Now, maybe it was born out of genuinely good intent. He might be correct about that, but we shouldn't have had that in the first place. It shouldn't have been necessary. But you know what? Yeah, that's a fair starting point. We can actually, meet in the middle there, agree a bit. And this is him right here. This is our the Japanese man. He's very, very upset. Get rid of unnecessary effort and enjoy what you do. Mamoru Oshii gives advice to aspiring mangaka and anime directors during an interview with Naruto TV in 2023. So he's been in the game for a long time. An industry legend whose lengthy list of credits also includes such works as Ghost in the Shell Innocence, Angel's Egg, which by the way, Angel's Egg is a very interesting anime. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And the original Urusei Yatsura anime adaptation. Oshii offered his thoughts on the hot button issue, the most recent entry of his monthly Q&A opinion column. That thing from that movie, what was it again? As commissioned and hosted by the Japanese entertainment news outlet Pia, my bad if I got that wrong. Amidst a larger discussion of the future of disinformation, Oshii eventually turned to share his thoughts on the fact, as presented by the outlet, there will be an increase in such things now that Donald Trump, who is a leading proponent of fake news, has become president. And this is an interesting thing about him. This is a very interesting thing. Dude's effectively a leftist, or at least by Western American standards, he's a leftist. He doesn't like Donald Trump. He's a Donald Trump hater. In fact, I think that this individual feels the same way a lot of folk do, is that whether you like or hate Donald Trump doesn't really matter. You're still over all this agenda stuff and this wokeness and the being against free speech and the forced political correctness. Like, I know a lot of folk that don't like Trump, but also hate wokeness. My best friend in real life is one of them. He's a diehard Democrat, and he loathes Trump. He also loathes wokeness and the what has been done to freedom of expression and artistic creation. So, yeah, I don't need the guy to like Trump for him to make a good point. I know there's going to be some of you out here that when you read that or when I read that, you rolled your eyes like, oh, just another artist that hates Trump. And you know what? That's fine, because what he says, the Trump aspect really shouldn't matter. Per an excerpt of his column shared by Twitter user Car Tweets, the full piece is currently exclusive to Paya News app, which is in itself region lot to the Japanese app stores, and subsequently machine translated by ChatGPT. The famed anime director noted the reason Trump's various false claims were so widely accepted by his base was due to their willingness to believe in their hero. The reason why Trump, who was so poorly regarded, is being treated like a hero by some, is not because of his national policies, said Oshii. It's because he overturned political correctness. That's why he's a hero. Now, I don't agree that he's poorly regarded. I think that this is another case of the guy is in a bubble. He's hearing certain media. The world stage is only showing so much media. Because Trump is not poorly regarded. I know plenty of people, not just in America. I mean, for one, he won the popular vote in America. So clearly, the majority of us did want him, did like him, the whole nine. But even overseas, I've talked to people from Brazil. I've talked to people from Australia. I've talked to people from parts of Asia. I've talked to people from Canada. Trump got a lot of fans the world over. So I don't really know that he is poorly regarded. But beyond that, he's correct. He is a hero to so many people because of his blatant refusal to accept political correctness, because of his blatant refusal to kowtow and bend the knee to agendas, to DEI, to wokeness, the whole nine. And even in Japan, they're seeing that. His thoughts now turn to the specific topic. The director proceeded to assert political correctness started with the aim of giving legitimacy to socially vulnerable groups. And that's not wrong. Okay. Fair enough. I can see you got a big heart on you. We obviously don't want to be treating people bad for immutable characteristics. Like, we shouldn't be hating on gay people because they're gay. We should be hating on them because a lot of gay people are annoying. Things like that. However, what he says now is oh, this is the good part. This is where we eatin'. This is where he starts to cook, son. In a mature society, that's a natural responsibility, added the Ghost in the Shell lead. However, the problem arose when, starting from that point, they ended up elevating the socially vulnerable to a position of power. Bingo, bango, bongo, there it is, my man spitting straight facts. So he started putting all these individuals, on pedestals, started giving them power, started letting us alter our jobs, alter our freedoms, alter our wants, our dreams, the whole nine, because we were afraid, or because we were labeled racist, or misogynistic, or homophobic, or whatever it may be, because we called out simple things like, why we have drag queen story hour in schools now? Oh, because if we stop having drag time story hour, it's gonna upset the trannies. Like, he's literally called out what we've been saying for years now. The problem is they ended up in positions of power. Because if all we wanted was just flat out equality, they just want to be treated like other people, by all means, we already had that. We've had that for a while. Kind of a golden age. I mean, yes, people are gonna get discriminated against. That's part of life. It sucks, but it is part of life. There's really going to be no way to 100% eliminate that or mitigate that. But most folk don't do that. If all you want is equality, by all means, we already have equality. They get priority admission to schools and preferential treatment in employment, Oshii continued. By the way, he isn't talking about the West here, or at least exclusively. He's talking about Japan. This shit's happening in Japan. He's speaking to his experience as an artist in the Japanese culture. They get priority admission to schools and preferential treatment in employment, Oshii continued, before making a surprise reference to the specific operations of narrative consultation companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Homie is calling out folk like Sweet Baby Inc. You think that they don't know what's going on over there in Japan? But most of them, like us here in America, since this is relatively recent in regards to them, this happening to them, a lot of them are too afraid to fight against it. A lot of them, oh my goodness, the cat is just ruining my camera. What are you doing, Valkyrie? Anyway, yes, they're experiencing this now too, and they've also seen what's happening in the West. Now the question is, are they going to have enough creatives that are man enough to stand up to fight against it? Because when we start fighting against it, I'll be real, way too late. The damage has been done. Can it be undone? We'll see. We hope. Time will tell. But maybe Japan can prove me wrong and pick up where we left off, and shut this shit down before it actually gets to the level it got to here in the West. What's more, there are companies that charge outrageous consulting fees to guide them through the process. Game companies, for example, are being asked to pay millions of dollars by these companies. Remember a while ago when Black Myth Wukong came out, and we were reporting on Black Myth Wukong, and there was the Sweet Baby Inc. or one of those consultation companies demanded $7 million for their work, and the guys behind Black Myth Wukong said, fuck you, and a lot of people were like, there's no way they were asking that much money. I was like, no, I can kind of fucking believe it. We got another dude right here, right now, saying the same damn thing about the Japanese industry. They're asking for millions of dollars. So yeah, needless to say, I still believe that when Black Myth Wukong was approached for consultation, they truly did demand that 7 milli figure. But again, this is just anecdotal, who's to say? Bringing his attention back to more specific experiences, the mobile police Pat Labor director then explained, because it directly relates to my work, I have a strong aversion to bringing political correctness in the worlds of games and anime. Good. That's why we play Eastern games. One, we're weebs. We like the aesthetic. We like that shit. We like your particular brand of storytelling, the way you guys do things differently in the West. But also because we like things that are uniquely and inherently Japanese. That's why we like the Japanese. And we wanted everything to have these Western sensibilities to them. We would just fucking play Western games. But even he says he doesn't like Western games. Just wait, guys, it gets even better. The dude is so based, it gets even better. After all, everyone who plays games wants beautiful or cute characters, he asserted. I'm no different, so why do I have to include unattractive ones? You don't. Now, as a creator, if you want to, go for it, let the free hand of the market decide, but the dude gets it. Why do I have to? You shouldn't have to, but they are trying to force that, not just in the West, but they want this to be global. World Economic Forum, New World Order, that's what they all want. They want a globally homogenous society that has been uglified, has been controlled, and it sounds conspiratorial, but when you see it happening all over the world, and when you see the government funding these ugly character-based video games in, like, in Europe, for example, or happening in South America, now it's happening in East, when you've got these consultation companies that are not just affecting Western companies, but things in the East as well, yes, needless to say, it's a pretty concerted effort. I mean, there's been They have been funded. Sweet Baby Inc. and other consultation companies like that have been funded by the World Economic Forum and by the United Nations. That seems, conspiratorial or not, that seems pretty New World Order-ish to me. He goes on to say, entertainment is fundamentally built on aspiration, Oshii argued. If you deny that sense of aspiration, you strip away the very foundation of what makes entertainment meaningful. These days, you can't even talk about someone being beautiful or not without being accused of discrimination. Here it is. Here's the kicker, guys. Western games have really become terrible, he then declared, all because of political correctness. Oh my God, give this man a pony. He's earned it. He deserves it. Western games have become terrible, and of course, there's going to be exceptions to the rule. There's Western games that have come out that I've liked, that you've liked, that we've all liked, but by and large, the AAA industry has been in the shitter for fucking years now. Why? A big part of that would in fact be the political correctness. Now, there's more to it, of course. It's not just political correctness, but yeah, he ain't exactly wrong. And the fact that he had the balls to just openly say Western games have really become terrible, and then to add on it's because of political correctness, by God, fucking legend. Closing out his thoughts on the matter, Oshii turned to give his opinion on Disney's failed live-action Snow White, telling the outlet, fairy tales are valuable precisely because they can be reinterpreted over and over again. That's the nature of the classics. I've reused Little Red Riding Hood many times myself. Saying that only the original version is valid and rejecting all others, that's a problem on its own way. But when those reinterpretations are used as a platform for political messaging, that's a whole different matter. You good goddamn right it is. Oshii, once again, he's basically, without using the word woke, he's coming out and being like, bro, Snow White sucks because it's woke. Like, that's what's being said here. He's using the proper artistic and sometimes PR-based speak because they just got a more polite culture over there in Japan. But that is what's happening. He's effectively saying wokeness is the reason for all of this, and it needs to die. I am so glad this is being seen, at least by some creators in Japan, because it's not just him. We also had Shinji Mikami and Suda57 say something very similar not too long ago. And then before that, we had the guys that did the Dragon Quest remake. They were also making fun of Body Type 1 and 2. We are seeing more and more creatives in Japan, and we're talking big names in the Japanese industry, the gaming industry, the manga industry, the anime industry, what have you. We're seeing all of them start to speak up and say stuff, and these are respectable names. So maybe if their words have any weight, if they got a little cash behind their name, we're going to start to see something changing in Japan. And I know that it needs to happen because I've done video after video on BlackRock and other of these asset holding companies start to put and funnel lots of money into Japanese productions, anime, manga, video games, the whole nine. We already know that Capcom has a massive ESG department. We already know that Square Enix has literally said they're going to bow and kowtow to wokeness in the West, so they're going to start making games for a global audience. They're not going to be treating their games as if they're strictly for a Japanese audience. These are all issues. When you add things like BlackRock, Raytheon, State Street, all that, why are they funneling money into Japan? Oh, right, these entertainment mediums in Japan have become a global thing. So yes, we do need these individuals to stand up against it, and maybe, just maybe, common sense will run out. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, or you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. Not always about the video game industry, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and become a member. For $4.99 a month, you can join the Discord, choose the videos I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the articles we cover on the day-to-day basis, and of course, get involved with over 180 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity of thought. If that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerd Sphere. This has been Words of Paradise.